So, I mean, we have a portfolio of 20-ish businesses that do about 50 million in revenue in the boring business side. And I say that because most of us don't have access to this private equity world where the wealthiest people play. They own more than any other subset of humanity across not just the US, but the globe. It's not the public market investors that end up becoming the richest people in the world. In fact, if you look at the Forbes 100 list, of the Forbes 100, nobody got on that list from pure passive stock market investing, not one. And somebody might say, well, what about Carl Icahn? He's an activist investor, and he does acquisitions that are behind the scenes with secondary shares. So there is this fake news fallacy that is sold to us every single day on places like CNBC, where they try to make us think that because Cramer hits a gavel, we should buy X or Y or Z, and it's totally wrong. So my money goes into exactly where I'm telling you guys. I buy these little boring businesses, and then something started to happen to me in 2020. I realized, after you did, that there's a network effect that's never happened before. Naval Ravikant talks about it. 4 levels of leverage. Originally, we had employment, right? We had labor. Labor was our first type of leverage, all the way back to when that was slaves to today as employees. The second type was capital. Capital was when the Rothschilds and the world's billionaires back then were created, was because of the advent of the banking system. They had access to more capital than could fit in their pockets. The third leverage event was code. So that was when we saw Bill Gates and Elon Musk and all of these guys start to have access to code, which allowed them to have unfair leverage. The number one type of leverage today, what do you guys think it is? Audience. It's audience. It's not necessarily social, but it's the fact that we are at a war for eyeballs. And so why wouldn't I build a media empire around this boring business empire that will never be worth 20x its forward-looking earnings, but my media business talking about it could be? So we have a practice, we talk about it, contrarian thinking, called document instead of create. So instead of us just going out there and coming up with crazy ideas all the time, I'm just like, well, I'm going to speak at my friend Pomp events today. I'm going to document this process. I'm going to go buy a laundromat. Oh, fuck, that deal fell through. I'm going to document that process. That documentation nobody used to care about. In 2020, I thought people would think it was so boring. Laundromats, car washes, I want to be an astronaut. Turns out people care about this, and you can add this leverage to whatever it is you're doing. So I think today, 1, what are you going to do if a recession hits? 2, are you in the war for eyeballs? Because if you're not in the war, you're fighting it, and you don't even know it.